Hello, and welcome to the Clinical Care Options Oncology Podcast. I'm your host, Tim Quill. Today's episode features Ms. Zoe Lanham, a woman who is living with high-risk, early-stage hormone receptor-positive breast cancer. She will be discussing her personal treatment plan and the importance of effective communication and shared decision-making with her healthcare providers. This episode is part of a larger educational program titled Improving Outcomes for Patients with High-Risk HR-Positive HER2-Negative Early Breast Cancer, Education and Resources for the Multidisciplinary Team. For more information, along with a link to the complete program, including a video from Ms. Lanham, a downloadable patient resource, a downloadable slide set, and expert commentaries, please visit the show notes for this episode. Now let's get started and hear about Ms. Lanham's experience.
My name is Zoe Lanham, and 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 3B invasive lobular carcinoma with 19 positive lymph nodes. After my diagnosis and having my biopsies, I discussed my treatment plan with my doctor, and it was agreed based on my diagnosis, I should start with a mastectomy. I should then have 18 weeks of chemotherapy, and that regime for me was 10 weeks of paclitaxel and 8 cycles of AC, followed by 40 treatments of daily radiation. And now I'm on abemaciclib, and I have actually been on that for a whole year, and I'm just entering my second year of taking that drug. Following my diagnosis, I was obviously very concerned for my future, and it was imperative that I had good communication with my healthcare professionals. And I was lucky enough to have that. My first meeting with my oncologist was obviously very scary. I'd already had my mastectomy, and I had to wait 8 weeks post-surgery to be cleared to go in for my chemotherapy. And I was waiting for him to come in. I was obviously very scared. I still had relatively open wounds, but enough for me to start my treatment plan. And this gentleman walked in, and I felt like he was talking to his daughter and that he genuinely cared. And it meant so much because I am somebody's mom and somebody's daughter and somebody's friend. And, I wanted to live. And he took the time to really explain to me what my chemotherapy regime was going to look like. He told me what the side effects were going to be. He told me how sick I would feel. And he also told me that some patients had less symptoms than others. And we were going to create a journey that was uniquely mine. And he was going to be there to give me as much information or as little information as I needed. I actually asked him to share everything with me, the good and the bad, because that's what I needed. I needed a treatment plan that it was tangible and that I could actually do in bite-sized chunks. And he was the doctor that could give that to me. I had so many questions following my initial meeting. But every time I asked a question, he would give me the answer. Good or bad, he gave it to me. And yes, there were so many uncertainties. I was scared. I definitely planned a funeral or two. I didn't want to be too tearful and worried in front of my family. I wanted to try and be strong for them. And that was why having doctors that were really open to communication was so important to me, because it allowed me to really be emotional with them and be strong when I was at home, but also getting all of the answers that I needed. And those answers and that empowerment and that knowledge really allowed me to be the master of my own universe and control the medical procedures that I was going through properly and effectively, and have the knowledge that I needed to really approach each in a positive way. And in my belief, there's nothing more important than a positive mental attitude when you're dealing with cancer. It was explained to me many times that because of how much disease I had and how many lymph nodes were infected with cancer, I was at high risk of reoccurrence. And initially, I didn't really understand. I just, that for me was, cancer was going to come back. But my doctor really took the time to explain to me that reoccurrence, everybody has a chance of getting cancer. Then once you've had cancer, that's going to go up some more. If you have poor diet, if you have, obesity, those could increase your risk some more. But there were so many new advancements in breast cancer treatment that really helped to control that. And abemaciclib is one of those treatments. And it really does help to keep cancer at bay. I was advised that I had chances of high risk reoccurrence. They did do all of the molecular markers on me. I was actually negative for all the BRCA genes. After the basic panel, they actually went through and did more of the molecular markers. And I was negative for all of them. But I also was lucky that I had HER negative, ER positive cancer, which meant that I could go on to abemaciclib. That would help. One of the conversations I had with my oncologist was whether I was going to be around in a year or in 2 years. And of course, there's no guarantee. But what my doctor said to me, and it really allowed me to manage my disease, was that I needed to consider my cancer a chronic disease. Diabetics live with diabetes. Heart patients live with heart disease, and they're given medicine to help control that illness. And in the same way as they're given medicine to help control their illness, I was going to be given a medicine to help me control mine. And that really empowered me. It really helped me to think and feel that there was life after my diagnosis of cancer. My experience with the CDK4 and 6 inhibitors has been a success story. When I was first told that I could go on abemaciclib, I obviously was not knowledgeable as to what that drug really entailed. But I had the good fortune of sitting with not only my oncologist, but the nurse practitioner. And they really took the time to explain to me the benefits of this particular drug, the CDK4 and 6 inhibitors, that in my instance is given in conjunction with an aromatase inhibitor. And they explained to me that this particular drug will actually target the CDK4 and 6 proteins within a cancer cell and really keep it at bay. They also then went on to explain to me the potential side effects and symptoms that you can have when taking this drug, all of which didn't sound great. However, they did say to me that you may lose your hair, and having lost my hair following my chemotherapy regime, I was excited for it to start growing back and a little apprehensive that it might fall out again. But I was excited to know that I could continue to live, and the hair was secondary. They also told me that I should eat certain foods to counteract the diarrhea symptoms that I may get. And they also told me that those symptoms would potentially only last as much as 8 weeks. Well, I was very lucky. I didn't have any side effects, and I'm successfully taking the drug and feel great, come to work every day. And it has not stopped me from living a really healthy, happy life. One of the things that I was required to do when I started taking abemaciclib was they would only prescribe the drug for me 2 weeks at a time. So I would have to ring into my insurance company and speak with a pharmacist in the oncology department. And they would find out if I was having any side effects or any new symptoms. And they would also ask me if I had any questions, having had taken the drug for the last 2 weeks. And this really allowed for me to speak with a professional pharmacist about the side effects and allowed me to feel comfortable with the drug that I was taking. I think it's so important as a patient to really let your oncologist and your healthcare professionals and your medical team at whole know exactly what it is that you need throughout your treatment journey. It's imperative for us to feel empowered that we're making the decisions and we're active participants in our journey. And making sure that you don't look at your doctor as being that superior being that you can't speak to, knowing that they're there to help you lead a happy, healthy life. So sharing with them what's important and having open communication is incredibly important. It was very beneficial to me in my journey.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lanham, for sharing your personal experiences. And thanks to you, the listeners, for joining us. As a reminder, to view the full program, Improving Outcomes for Patients with High-Risk HR-Positive, HER2-Negative Early Breast Cancer, Education and Resources for the Multidisciplinary Team, and to view Ms. Lanham's video and download the patient resource from the Clinical Care Options website, please click on the link in the show notes. As always, thanks for listening.